uh, today. I can't believe we are here. John was saying this morning, he's like, I've been waiting for today since last August. This is our favorite time of the year, but I do want to say good morning, everybody, and take a look around to your neighbors here. Seriously, look around. There are, a few moments in your life when you're actually surrounded by, people, this many people that have really chosen to bet on themselves, right? To really see what's possible for themselves. Some of you that are here, you're here because you want money. Some of you guys are here because you wanted to do something productive, maybe before school starts. Some of you are trying to build a resume. Some of you want confidence. Some of you are looking for an internship next summer or even fall. Some of you just want to prove something to yourself. Whatever brought you here, I'm really glad you guys are here because over the course of the next 3 weeks, your life might change. Go over there, Papa. Not because of Cutco and not because of your sales, but because of who you're about to become through this process. Every single year, there are 3 weeks that define our entire organization, and we call it the Vector Super Bowl, right? And why? Because championships aren't necessarily won during ordinary weeks. They're won when everyone decides, I'm going all in, right? Like when the team and when the individuals say, let's do this. Athletes, they don't train all year for just a random Tuesday. Like Olympic athletes don't wake up excited because today's just another practice, right? They're like working towards whatever that next thing is. I think about a lot of professionals and people I know and athletes, like they don't remember a lot of the regular season games, but they remember the championship, right? Or they remember the playoffs. And this is our time. Like this is our championship. And so there is definitely something interesting, when people watch like the Super Bowl. I think that a lot of people think that game is won on Sunday, right? But all the athletes know, obviously, it wasn't won that day. It was won months before, like with the workouts that nobody saw, with the disciplines, that they had, during the practices where, nobody applauded. During mornings where they might have wanted to sleep in, right? During days they didn't feel motivated. Like championships are earned long before people notice. And so these next 3 weeks are simply where the work becomes visible. And so some of you guys, I know I've talked to, and I've heard you even talking with each other, are wondering, like, can I actually do this, right? Like, you're scared out of your mind. And let me answer that. Like, yes, absolutely. Like, I've done this now for 24 years. This is my 25th push. This is my 24th. I missed one. Natalie was born 2 years ago in July. So I was not part of the Alliance that year. It's my first and only time I've ever missed in 25 summers. But I know I've seen people from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, all different levels of experience in our business, and they've gone out and crushed it for the push, and not because necessarily you have everything you need already and you're so great, but because they were coachable, because they showed up, and some of our biggest, performers over the years, they started exactly where you guys are sitting right now, right? In your seats, a little bit nervous, a little bit unsure, wondering if like anyone would even buy from them. Like I remember one of our guys when he started, and Adrian was like, I just don't really know if people are going to buy, or I don't know this, or, I looked at him laughing and I'm like, you got this, right? Mike Arrieta, wondering if he could even talk to people, because Mikey, by the way, had a very, very severe stutter, like very hard to get the word out. And especially when he was nervous or excited, it was very difficult to get what he wanted to get out. And I remember him being like, I don't know how I'm gonna talk to people. And I was like, take a deep breath. I'm like, we just got to slow down, and watching him evolve. And this guy, became one of the top hits in Silicon Valley and helping build DocuSign and built other companies as a top private equity. And he was Forbes top 30 under 30 when he was 27 years old. He was in Forbes magazine for top 30 under 30, worth multi-millions. And this kid at 17 when he started with me, it's kind of a mess, but this really helped him get his feet wet, get his confidence, be able to speak more effectively, and like I just know what's possible when you discipline yourself and when you're focused on growth, right? And you're like, I want to be better, I want to do better. And so don't stop thinking about like if you're good enough, right? Because the difference I would say in all the years between like our top achievers and others wasn't necessarily talent or experience. The difference was simple. Like they decided, I'm going to keep showing up. Like they showed up every day. They showed up every morning, to workshops. And some of you have signed your alliance, and we're going to be taping these up later today, but you've signed your contract and you're like, I'm in, I'm going to be here every day. We're going to put them on the wall out there. And that's awesome. But I'd encourage others of you, even if you're like not committed the whole time, show up as much as you can, right? Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about closing on the ultimate and signature set, really walking through the ultimate. On Tuesday, we're going to be walking through how to sell cookware. Then we're going to go through flatware, how to sell packages. And so this week will be like really helping close bigger sales. We'll have some mindset and motivation mixed in. And starting next week will be a lot of like performance and discipline and perseverance, because you're going to learn that a lot of success in life is based on how good you are at mental and emotional management. The most successful people in the world are not so successful because they never had challenges. They're successful because they don't let challenges get in the way. They don't let it stop them, right? I heard years ago when I first started, my manager said, are the obstacles going to be like stumbling blocks, or are they going to be barricades that keep you from your goal? Or are you going to use them as stepping stones, right? To get you where you want to go. Everything can teach you something. Everything can make you stronger. How are you looking at things? How are you allowing it to motivate you, right? And so keep showing up. Your partners are going to cheer you on. Like the best thing you can do is to get into accountability groups, find an accountability partner, and I can help you with that. If you're like, oh, who would be a good accountability partner for me, right? We have many teams, but you guys can also just have accountability partners of people that are going after a similar goal than you, to keep each other accountable, to wake each other like in the morning. All right, let's make calls together. Hey, let's do this together. Like John, when he was a rep back in 2018, they were amazing at that, of just like holding each other accountable, working together, even when they got promoted to like assistant manager roles, like practicing their scripts and getting more comfortable with learning how to run an interview, or doing a PC, a personal coaching with a manager, whatever it was. They showed up, they supported each other. And I love that. A big thing I love about this organization is that we don't just develop salespeople, we develop professionals. We develop people with their communication, with their leadership, with their problem solving, time management, resilience, networking, confidence. Like these are skills that companies pay six figures for, by the way. And so you guys just happen to get to learn them while representing a pretty kick butt product. And so I want to challenge you guys. I want to challenge something. Some of you guys have goals written down, and you're like, I want to sell 10,000. I want to sell 15 or 20 or 30,000. And you've got your thermometer ready to rock to show your customers and go through. You've got your demo goal of how many you want to get done, over the next 3 weeks, and you're able to share that with people. Maybe you want to just earn enough for school. Maybe you want to land a fall internship. These are great goals, but for me, I really hope that something bigger happens through this process. That 3 weeks from now, you don't just have more money, but I hope that you guys can look in the mirror and see a different person, like see somebody who actually believes in themselves, right? See somebody who speaks with confidence to whoever you're talking to. See somebody who's not afraid of hearing no, right? Like I hated that when I first started, and that was something that evolved, and knowing that it wasn't against me, it was against the business proposition. And that's part of life, and that's definitely part of sales, right? Somebody who walks into interviews differently, and who knows I can figure things out, right? Our motto and GCK is champions find a way, right? We breed champions. We say champions find a way. And we talk about that. And it's that find a way mentality that makes you so freaking strong for the future. And guys, how do you build that? Well, think about, how do you build muscles? You guys tell me, how do we build muscles? At the repetition, right? At the gym, building weights. And when that weight becomes really easy, what do? you increase, and now maybe you're 5 pounds heavier, and you do that until that becomes the norm, and that's your new capacity. And then you're like, all right, let's go, right? And we keep leveling up, and that's how you get stronger and stronger and build bigger physical muscles, right? Well, guys, the same thing happens with you guys with emotional and mental muscles. The only way they get stronger is to put them under pressure, right? And that resistance, and to continually do that to where it becomes normal. And you're like, I got this, right? And so you're expanding your capacity. You have a new reality for yourself in terms of what you can or cannot do. But having that, like, I can figure it out, I can do this. And when you have that confidence in yourself, nobody can take that away from you guys. All right. One of my favorite quotes I heard years ago, it said, pressure doesn't build character, it reveals it. I'll say that again. Pressure doesn't build character, it reveals it. And guys, over the next 3 weeks, there will be pressure. And especially those of you guys, the bigger your goals are, you're going after 25, 30K, 50K, 100K, like Francisco. Like, it's intense. Like, appointments are going to cancel. People are going to say no. You're going to have amazing days. You're going to have frustrating days. You're going to wonder, like, oh my gosh, am I cut out for this, right? Good, because that's where the growth happens, right? And so think about every major accomplishment that you ever had, whether that was graduating from high school or from college, making a team, or an organization that you really wanted to be a part of, right? I know some of our guys are like, it was a big like theater school or a big dance program, or maybe it was just the university you wanted to go to. Maybe it was learning to drive. Maybe it was starting college. And so none of them, when you start something new, ever feels totally comfortable. Like, growth almost never feels comfortable. And comfort and growth rarely ever live in the same place, just so you guys know. All right. When something feels uncomfortable, don't run from it, because that's usually proof that it's an area where you need growth or where you're currently growing. All right. And so here is something I want to make sure everybody remembers, is that you do not have to be the most talented person here. You do not have to be the smartest person. You do not need to have the biggest network. You don't even have to be the best speaker. Okay. You simply have to win today. And this was something my manager told me years ago. It's like, what can I do to win today? Right. And so for us, he's like, winning the day. He's like 1,000 plus CPO in the day, or completing 4 demos, getting 50 plus referrals. Like, these are all different ways of like winning the day. Right. But it's like, can I win today? And I remember when I went after my biggest push, one of the Cutco sales professionals at the time sharing, he said, Cathy, don't look at it as like a 3-week push, right? Or, many of you are working 15 to 18 days of the push. Some of you guys are working less. Maybe you only have 10 days to work, or 7 days. Whatever the number is, whether you can work 10 days of the push, 12 days, 15, 18, however many days that you're able to work, he said, look at it as, 10 one-day pushes, right? Or 15 one-day pushes, or 18 one-day pushes. And so it's like, all right, today is my first one-day push, right? Of 10 I'm going to do. And so how big can I make today? What else can I do for today? A lot of times people slow down their pushes because they're thinking about, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it the next day. And it's like, today's a one-day push. How big can you make today? Guess what tomorrow starts at? 0, right? Like, my mentor was like, pretend it's a cat. It doesn't matter what it is. It's like, boom, clear. It starts at 0. Every day starts at 0, right? What are you doing to make that day great? And that was something that really resonated and stayed with me a long time, because championships aren't won necessarily by one heroic performance. They're won by sticking a lot of consistent, ordinary days together, like stacking them over and over with excellence, and bringing your best to whatever you do. And so, for you guys, one of the things that excites me the most is not the sales, is not the records, it's not the competition, even though I love all those things. My favorite thing about these next 3 weeks is seeing people discover like what they're capable of, like seeing the growth that happens every year. Somebody walks into this room thinking they're like average or okay, and 3 weeks later they're leading people, they're speaking confidently, they're running interviews, and I'm like, what? Just a totally different person. And it's so cool. And they're setting goals for themselves that they never even thought possible, changing the direction of their life. And maybe that's going to be you, right? Some of you are future engineers in this room. Some of you are teachers. Some of you are lawyers, are doctors, are entrepreneurs, business owners. Some of you are going to be programmers. Some of you financial advisors. Some of you top executives. Some of you guys will be parents, right? Whatever you're doing, the communication skills that you guys build over these next 3 weeks will follow you for decades. All right. That I know. This is not just a summer job. This is leadership training disguised as work, right? Disguised as a fun summer job. And one thing I need to make sure, like I need from you guys, from every person in this room, is to give yourself permission to go out and compete. All right. And not against the person next to you. Did everyone hear me? We're not talking about competing with someone else, but competing against yourself and like that next version of you that, the next version of you than the person who walked in this morning, right? How can you be a little bit more confident? Can you make one more phone call? Can you ask for one more referral? Can you schedule one more appointment? Can you stay on the phone 5 more minutes? Whatever it is, can you learn one more lesson? Those little extra actions each day, that one more this, one more that, they compound and they create a lot of extraordinary results. And so I want you guys to remember this, like you're not doing this alone, right? We're doing this together. These are your teammates. We're splitting up, and many of us have like mini teams where we'll be having fun and competing with each other. But celebrate each other, encourage each other. That's the point of the teams. Your team captains, we're creating groups for like accountability groups and just to support each other. But that's the goal. And I talked to them earlier. I'm like, the goal is to celebrate each other, to encourage each other, to hold each other accountable, to help each other, to push each other, right? In a positive way, right? Not push like, come on, man, but like challenging each other of where you can be. Some of the people that you guys are going to be mingling with during this time are those who are coming in the morning alliances for sure. I always see become lifelong friends. Some of these people might be in your weddings, by the way. Some of these people might be future business partners later on. I've seen so many incredible partnerships that have come through the last 20 something years from people that spent, 2-3 weeks together on Alliance and really connected. And some might even be mentors of you from now, but championship teams compete together. And so as we begin, I want you guys to really imagine that it's 3 weeks from today, right? And the competition is over. You're driving home from Austin. What story do you want to tell yourself? Do you want to say, I wish I would have tried harder? Or do you want to say, I gave everything I had? Because regardless of the scoreboard, if you actually give everything, guess what? You've already won. All right. That in itself, know that. All right. So here's my challenge to you guys is be coachable, be consistent, have courage, but also have fun. All right. Take massive action. Believe before you have proof of concept that you're capable, and trust the process. All right. Remember, this isn't just about what you sell. It's about who you become in the process. 3 weeks from now, some of you guys will have earned thousands of dollars. Some of you will have secured internships. Some of you will have discovered leadership abilities that you didn't even know existed within you. Some of you will literally change the trajectory of your career. Every single one of you guys has the opportunity starting today. And so you get to write the story that you're going to tell for years. And so let's make these 3 weeks unforgettable. Let's serve people that you get to connect and meet with. Let's outwork our doubts, right? Let's grow together, and let's become the kind of professionals that employers fight for because they want you in their company. All right. Let's compete with excellence, and let's make this the greatest 3 weeks of your life. All right. And so we're going to get to work. I want to bring up Professor Rose to walk through, let's put this on, some of the tips to really help. Let me go ahead and